Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jamie. I was asked recently, how do you stay motivated? How is it that you're able to pursue your online business, help so many folks out, and basically keep going in spite of so many setbacks over the years? Now, if you're new to me in my world, I'll paint some context really quickly and before I get into how I go about that. But I started my affiliate marketing journey way back in 2011. And since that point, I've tried and failed at literally everything there is online. Absent of AI, I haven't really got into that stuff because I finally found success. It took me about 7.5 years though. But in that time, I tried things like CPA marketing. I went out and tried selling books on Kindle. I went and started three Shopify stores, managed to do okay with one, sold one, interestingly enough. Technically would have lost money overall, but it was still something that kind of proved that the online marketing game can work. I went bankrupt in 2015, which was obviously a very, very hard time in my life. I was in my mid 30s. And while all my friends were buying multiple properties and traveling to foreign destinations, I, on the other hand, was struggling to afford to eat. And it was a weird time because I was in a relatively new relationship with what is now my wife. And obviously, I had to come clean about my financial situation. It wasn't exactly what you call easy, put it that way. But we're about 8 years on from that point. Things have moved on, and obviously, life looks a lot better since those days. Also, tried selling things on FBA. Never actually pulled the trigger on that. I went right to the point of just about to pull the trigger on buying the products to send over to get them shipped from Amazon. Just decided not to. It just there was too much risk involved the way that I saw that, and I thought for low margins, I really don't want to go into that game. In 2017, I was in the workforce still, so I actually picked up another job, and finally, and I was earning some pretty good money, and it was a fun job. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't really my passion working. I never wanted to work for anyone else. Ever since I was 8 years old, I remember very specifically something that happened when I was eight. And that made me want to pursue my own employment, self employment. So, with one client that paid me a whopping $1,000 per month, I kicked and screamed and begged and pleaded for my wife to allow me to quit work. And I had bugger all savings, not much at all, a couple of $1,000 maybe. And she said, "Yeah, I believe in you. Believe it can happen. Let's do it." And so it's hard, right? Because you go through this process, and most people don't really talk about this, but you go through this process when you quit work. Say if you've been employed for however long it is, right? And there's two sort of things in mind there. One is it's called intrapreneur. Now, an intrapreneur is someone that goes through the typical schooling system. They go through typical workplace environment, and it means that they are confined to a subset of decisions. There's a hierarchy of decisions that they need to make, but they don't need to deviate beyond that usually, right? And if you think about a typical corporate structure, you got board of directors, CEO, and the branches go down from there. And so if you're at the lower levels, there's a hierarchy of decisions that you don't really need to go beyond, right? So that means that there is a place for your energy and time to go, and that's it. You don't need to think too far outside of that square most of the time, as a general reference point, right? As opposed to being an entrepreneur where you got to make all the decisions. You got to work out the financing. You got to go work out your funnels if you're going down that path. You got to go work out your traffic sources. You got to go work out absolutely everything there is, right? And so now all of a sudden you've gone from a finite set of decisions when you're working for someone else to shit, this is all me. Got to do everything now. And so that can be really tricky. And so for me, I felt a lot of guilt because things would happen like I'd work very long hours, like 12 to 15-hour days. But at the same time, I was also like, well, I'm self employed now and it's a beautiful day outside. So what am I doing here in front of my computer? I'm going to go for a walk. But then I'd feel guilty. I feel this sense of guilt because I knew my wife was at a place of employment where she was under a lot of strain, a lot of stress. There was elements of it that she loved, but it was a very, very stressful environment in a lot of ways. And so knowing that she's there doing that, here I am like kicking back in the sun, having a milkshake, chilling out. Like I just felt guilty about that. So that's something that most people don't talk about. But anyway, that was the situation. Uh, Through 2018, again, it was a bit of a struggle. I found because my leaving the workforce to set up an agency running Facebook ads. And so I was doing that for a multitude of clients, undercharging myself as well, as you do. Hard lesson to learn. But then in 2018, through my connections, I managed to work for another agency. And then through that agency, I ended up doing pretty well. And I was finally starting to get back on track, started having pretty decent income finally. And then towards the end of 2018, they brought all their marketing in house, decided not to pursue that any further. And that coincided with basically an issue where they owed some money to someone, so they couldn't pay their creditors. They came clean. They did pay, by the way, and there's no bad karma there at all, by the way. But it was just happened to be just before Christmas in 2018, and so for the umpteenth time in my life, I found myself broke. Right, and so I'm saying all this to paint a little bit of context for you guys about some of the journey and whatnot. So then in 2019, I was like, I need to take control of my income. And so what I did is I went out and I basically started getting into affiliate marketing. I thought, well, I can control how hard I work. I can control the offers that I'm putting out. I can control all that stuff. Okay, I'll do this, right? And so I started putting myself out there a little bit, and it was really hard. I didn't really know what I was doing. The crazy thing was, this is like, it still blows my mind that this was the case, but I've sold millions of dollars worth of stuff. I can't put a figure on it, but it's, call it tens of millions, right? Easily. Financial products, education, event space, you name it. There's a bunch of stuff there. And the kind of dumb thing was that I didn't think about taking that skill set and bringing it online. I was like trying to do all this online stuff, but there was no kind of like, oh, why don't I just bring the whole sales thing that I've done? Like, why don't I just bring that online? Like, it didn't even click in my mind. So in late 2019, teamed up with my very good friend and mentor, Jacob Karras, and along with another very good friend now, Chris Donnelly. And we created what then later became the Super Affiliate Accelerator. And that's where we hit the award. It took us about 14 months to surpass $1 million in revenue, which was pretty damn cool, right? And so in a space of around about 7 days, I went from like trying to be everywhere at once, trying to do everything, and I was answering questions on Quora, and I was building out chatbots, and I was emailing multiple lists per day, and I was trying to run an ad over here every now and then I was looking after some client stuff over there still, because I still needed the income from that. And then I'd go and get onto Instagram, and I'd create multiple accounts on Instagram, multiple accounts on Twitter, and then I'd do all sorts of stuff and like trying so hard for something to work. And then, like I say, once I got rid of all that stuff, a lot of it was due to my ego way. And I don't say that out of me being conceited. I say that because I put so much emotional energy into these other projects. And I thought, I just, for once, Jamie, you just got to finish something just for once. And so I denied myself the ease that came after this. I denied myself that because I was like, oh, I've just got to finish this thing off. Right. And so I tried, and then that ended up failing. I finished the course, took me about 8 months. Stupid idea, by the way. It made like $80 on its first day, and it totaled like $170 for the total launch. It was fucking bullshit, to be honest. But, anyways, but it taught me a few things, right? And so then once I got clear and I hit that just real simple, pretty much what I do now, which is I grow and monetize Facebook groups. I teach that to students as well. More or less, that was what I did. And within 7 days, I went, okay, group member, nurture that lead, see if I can book a call, see if I can help them out with some stuff, see if the offer that I have is the right solution for them. And then bang, 7 days later, $1,000 a day. Oh my God. And it just unlocked something within me. And then I hit another one the next day. And then I hit my first 10K month. And then I later went on to hit 20K months, and then $50,000 months. And then, it was crazy. Just the journey just like went on this crazy growth trajectory after that point. So I paint that context for you. I give you a little bit of background there to help you understand that the journey has been very, very long for me. It's not something that I just started and went, I'm going to be an affiliate now and just bang, magical riches. I've failed more times than most people would ever even conceive about trying. I've had setback after setback. I've had account basically blow up in front of me. I've been denied all sorts of stuff. I've like failed at like so much stuff. It's ridiculous. And then that begs the question: well, what's the motivation? Like, why would you keep going? What's your problem, man? What's wrong with you? And so, it's interesting for me. I don't really believe in motivation. For starters, and the reason for that is because motivating, like I can be motivated. Some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm gonna hit the road today. This is gonna be awesome. But other days, I don't have it. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go and help my students out. I don't want to like jump on a Zoom call. I don't want to write content. I don't want to like record a YouTube video. I don't want to do any of that because motivation is fleeting for all of us. Think about it in your own life. Like literally sit there and reflect about the times you're like, I'm going to do this thing. And then what happens? A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, 4 weeks go by, 7 weeks go by, and you've stopped. And you're sitting on the couch and you're eating chips, watching your favorite Netflix doco. And you gave it a shot, for sure. And kudos for that. But it's fleeting, right? Because you can't last. It's like a muscle. It's hard to make it last. So how do I motivate myself? How do I keep going in spite of that then? Two things spring to mind. Number one is I have an incredibly insane why. My reason for doing this, my why, is it's insane. And I say that not because it's grandiose. I don't give a fuck about mansions and shit like that. Like I don't care about any of that stuff. I might end up having that at some point, but it's not. Oh my god, materialistic stuff doesn't appeal to me. It's time with my family. It's impact to human beings. It's helping the random stranger that finds himself in my world, and they happen to pick up that one thing that I say that time, and that unlocks something in their own mind, and that changes their belief system. And all of a sudden, they've gone from this like shy person to someone who is erupting out there and like exploding and doing good stuff and impacting other people and impacting their own families. That's my why. And that's changed over the years, right? It's changed because it used to be, I want to get out of the workforce because that's me. That's self centric, right? Which we all are. And then it was watching my beautiful wife out going through the stress every day. And I was like, this isn't fair. Like, if I'm here and I'm like just chilling out on the couch because I can, it's just not fair. I can't do it. I can't do that for her. And so that was my thing, my goal. My goal changed. So that's my why. Now, sad or unsad, I still haven't worked this out, but we're not going to have kids. We can't have kids, basically. And so I still don't know if that's sad or not. I haven't quite concluded that part yet. So therefore, if I was a father, then that would then become my why. But it's not, and that's fine. So therefore, my why now becomes another external factor, which is cool. I've freed my wife from the workforce. She's got her own soon-to-be six-figure business that she's working on as well, based on the skills that I was able to teach her and that she's able to develop as well. And that's amazing. That's really gratifying. And now there's a new why, and the new why is I want to help. I want to help you. I want to help whoever lands on this page and watches this video to this point. I want to help the people out there. I want to help my students. I want them to unlock that part of their brain, which allows them to attract abundance, which allows them to live a better life, not because they are better, like, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean, like, they live better because they are more authentic to themselves. They can sell from a place of congruence. They're not trying to do this high pressure BS stuff. They are literally helping other human beings out. And that's my why. So, to circle back, cap that off, I don't need motivation because my audience is my motivation. And yeah, I have selfish needs and wants as well. I do want to create a bunch of cash. I want to do some stuff. I want to have adventures. I want to seek certain things. I want to spend time with certain people, things like that. But I don't need motivation for that. I need habit, right? I need habit. And so I'll give you a couple of examples then. I've got a couple of habits that I've developed. Some of them are not so good. Other ones are really good. So one good one is I woke up one morning in March 2020, around about when my wife left her job. And I just decided that every morning I was going to have a cold shower. So I have every morning, every single morning without fail since 2020, March 2020. I believe there might be 2 days that I've accidentally skipped due to I was on a boat for a night and different things. There wasn't a shower available to go back to shore to get a shower, things like that. But other than that, I haven't missed it, right? So it's a habit, and I can't like it's almost like subconscious now. I just kind of like turn it to cold and just sit there in the cold in the shower. Like it's just ridiculous to the point where I now think about it and I can't not do it. Like it's just it would be close to impossible for me not to do that now at this point. Another one that I've picked up more recently is on one of my coaching calls, someone mentioned about doing 3,000 push-ups for the month. And so I thought, cool, sounds good. I'll tag along with that. It was on the 2nd of June. I forgot about it, right? Completely forgot. Next week, on the 8th, how are your push-ups going? Shit, forgot. So I averaged it out, worked out to be 137 push-ups. So every day since the 8th of June, I've done 137 push-ups. And that's now a habit. I get this anxiety if I think about stopping doing that because I know I will never start again because it's just a stupid thing to do, right? And so my point with all this, the same thing is with my business. I just do it. I just do it. Like I just wake up, I write some content. I just wake up, I DM some folks. I just wake up, I make offers. It just is because, like I say, my why is so strong, and the other part of my why is it way outweighs it way outweighs my insecurities. It way outweighs my doubt. It way outweighs my lack of clarity at times. My drive is strong enough for that. And I don't really give a flying fortress if I get haters in the comments. I don't care about that. I don't care if my friends and family don't believe in what I'm doing because I know in my heart that I'm impacting people or I'm trying to impact people in a positive way. And so, therefore, my insecurities, my doubts about that stuff, about doing a lifestyle that's significantly different than my friends and family, that's just not something I care about. And I used to because I was trapped in that frame. I was worried what they'd think about me. I was worried about whether they will accept me. But life is too freaking short for that. Too freaking short. And the crazy thing is that I kept pursuing, I kept pursuing until something worked. I started making money, I started impacting people, I started living my life how I chose to. And then I was accepted again. Right? So those look, it's a bit of a kind of a random ramble for you there. If you're relatively early in your journey, hope you got inspiration from this. Hope there's something there that you can go. Sounds like me. I feel pretty hard up at the moment. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, there is light at the end of the tunnel. What I'll leave you with is something that has been echoed by Alex Hormozy recently. It's something that I have felt for a long time, and I've lived through this clearly. But I play the long game. I'm incredibly patient when it comes to this stuff. Incredibly impatient with other things. Anyway, it's a story for another time. But when it comes to the business stuff, I just knew if I keep knocking, eventually the door of success is going to open. And that's the attitude you need to have. You need to like stretch your time horizon out because what will happen is if you think this game is just so unbelievably simple, it's not complex. We make it complex and marketers make it sound complex because then if it sounds complex, then it means that you're going to need that knowledge to make it work for yourself, right? We're marketers, that's what we do. But if you stretch that out and you understand that there's actually only a couple of components to this business, it's not super complex. Number one, you need an offer. You need something that is a resolution for a bleeding neck problem. That is a copywriting saying. If someone has a bleeding neck problem, they need it solved like right now. You know what I'm saying? So you need an offer. You need something that helps people out, right? Number one. That's it. You can deliver that via a Google Doc. You can deliver it via voice clips. You can like however it doesn't matter as long as it solves their problem. So that's number one, right? Number two is you need an audience. You need some folks that you can get in front of. You need to be able to get in front of some folks. Some of them will watch 20 minutes of you rambling at a video. Look down at the clock then. Some of them won't. Some of them would have skipped away in 5 seconds. Who's a fuck? It doesn't matter. Like, now, I say that because if you deepen the relationship you have with your audience by producing this type of stuff where you're raw and you're honest and you're you don't BS them. You tell it how it is. The shit is hard. You swear at times if you're trying to emphasize a point. Like if you do that and you build that clout, build that equity with your audience, you try to help them out as best as you can with your current facilities, with whatever you have, then you're going to build an audience. And if you keep that over the long term and you elevate your authority with that audience by proving in advance you can help them out and telling them about that and reminding them the stuff that you've done and reminding them the stuff that you can help them with, then the only other piece of the puzzle that you need is an acquisition process. Okay? All you need. That's literally it. So three components: offer, audience, acquisition process, right? Really, really basic stuff. Now, the acquiring of your clients can happen in a multitude of ways. This here is part of my sales process. I'm clearly, you're probably thinking, what the hell is this guy on about? Um, well, what I'm on about is I'm deepening my relationship with you. Because what happens is people absorb this kind of content and they bother to watch to the 20 plus minute mark. And then when I'm on a chat with them on Zoom or in a group conversation with them, they know me. They know who I am. They know that I've been around doing this stuff for a long time. They know that I'm authentic, that I joke sometimes, that I take the piss out of myself, that I swear on occasion, that I get it wrong a lot, that I will try and fail, that I am going to lead by example by being at the forefront of this stuff, by testing stuff out, by failing my way through it if I have to. And so, therefore, there's some of them that are going to feel inspired by that. Kind of crazy, right? Now, they all work, the acquisition process. If you DMing folks, it's going to work. You're going to sell some stuff. If you're booking calls, it works. It's going to sell some stuff. You got a webinar, a little bit trickier, but you can make it work. A video sales letter, VSL, you can make it work. Like literally, you can make it all work. But I encourage you, please just stick with one. Just stick with one method. I will make a pretty solid argument that the easiest way for you to sell high ticket in a very short space of time is to get someone onto a call. Help them out. Don't worry about the whole selling part. Help them out with some stuff. Leave the door open for them to walk through if they choose to. It doesn't need to be this high pressure shit, right? I know, end of the day, if I'm communicating with someone, I'm still going to have my solution. They're still going to have their problem, which is why I'm super relaxed with my sales process. But stick with one. If it's calls, cool. If you don't have the time, absolutely fine. Pick what works for you. I would start on an individual basis so you can make it bespoke to that individual. And then once you've got a bit of experience, you're a little bit uh, more confident in what you're doing and what you're producing. Then you can start to look at one to many options. Anyway, bit of a ramble for you guys today. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you have made it to this point, feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know if you like more of this stuff, just where I'm spinning bars kind of in a raw basis. And if not, that's cool as well. I don't really care. Just going to keep going. Anyway, hope this helps, guys. Stay motivated, stay true to yourself, and just make sure that your why, your reason for doing this stuff, transcends your insecurities. Make sure it transcends it. Just if it's not, then you're gonna lose traction, right? Like I say, motivation is very fleeting, but a true destination, a true why, and why you're heading there is going to propel you forward further than anything, any motivation, right? Make it a habit. All right, guys, thank you so much. See you in the next one.